Okay, everybody, here we go. This is the senior pros. Tony Taz is currently leading with a 414. Alan Connor's one behind him with a 413. And then we have a three-way tie for third at 411. Tony's been having a great year. This is his first year shooting in the senior pro. He comes from open pro and semi-pro. Tony's had a long history of shooting, being successful. And he's showing it this year. He's really stepped it up. His first shot shoots a center 10.
Okay, first up for Tony Taz, currently with a 1-point lead over Alan Connor at 10, moves him to 424.
Looks like we have 112 shot on this whole round.
Behind. He's got a 10. He moves to 423.
Over here would be Ray Young on that bear.
For Roger Willett, one of three shooters tied
Low
at 411.
shot on this target on this deer. That's an 8.
An 8 for Roger, moves him to 419. For Ray Young on the brown bear. Let's see. For Ray, we have a 12. That moves him to 423 to a tie with Alan Connor.
A 10 on this coyote. Tony Taz has been shooting for Hoyt for a long time. Since I shot for Hoyt. Me and Tony.
We have a solid 10 for Richard.
And Michael Braden.
Down arrow ever. Let's have that
Michael Braden, who you actually seen earlier shooting Elite.
All right, Tony's still in the lead at 424.
We were on the same team. And Chance Bobak, when we were all shooting in the men's open pro and IBO, we were on the same team together and got to win an IBO and a world championship, team championship together, which was pretty awesome a long time ago. These guys can shoot very well. I believe that was a 0. I heard an arrow skip through the trees. I didn't see what happened, but Alan looks kind of shocked. I don't know if it went off while he was drawn back or if he just bumped his trigger or something, bumped his hinge.
Okay, first up for Ray Young, currently at 423, 1 point behind our leader.
That was a really bad round, pretty much by
an 8 for Ray.
By everybody. We had a couple 10 shot here on the end.
Next up for Roger Willett. Looking to get back in the hunt.
Richard Holmes.
He's got an 8 though. It moves him to
shot
427.
A 10, and Tony Taz shot a 10, and that was pretty much it. This one's a 0.
For Alan Connor, we have a 423. For our leader, Tony Tazza.
I'd like to know what happened there with Tony, or with Alan.
We have a 10, moves him to 434. And for Richard Holmes. A 10 for Richard, moves him to 431. Let's look at the board real quick. We had a couple major moves on that arrow. Tony Taz now leads at 434. At 431 are Ray Young and Richard Holmes. Roger Willis now in 4th at 427, and Alan Connor is at 423.
So probably the most exciting part about this is Tony Taz is still leading. He came into this leading. He's still currently leading. But we've had Ray Young, who came into this in 4th place, and Richard Holmes, who came into this in 5th place, are actually had moved all the way up to 2nd place. They're at a 431, only 3 points back from Tony Taz. Still have 3 targets to go before the final arrow. And I'm expecting somebody to make a move on this coyote, but we haven't seen it yet. Until now. Actually, Roger Willett just shot at it and hit a 14.
Okay, first up.
Ray Young, 12 this target.
Ray Young.
So that puts him in a really good position.
That moves him to 443.
Because Tony Taz has shot at a 12 on this long deer, and he was our leader. He actually
10 for him, moves him
aided
to
this deer,
441.
which is going to drop him 2 points. Ray Young 12 it, so we're going to have a 4-point swing on a target, on one target where they were only 3 behind. So now we'll have a new leader. We'll actually have a lead change.
An 8 for Tony, moves him to 442 as the deer continues to baffle our shooters. For Alan Connor. For Alan, I have a 10 for Alan, moves him to 433. And
Roger Willett makes a big move, coming from a 427.
Roger Willett,
who's going to jump all the way up to a 441. boosting him all the way to a tie for third place. For just a second ago, he
14.
was
That
on
moves
pace to
Roger
not
Willett
even make it in a
into
shootout.
441.
Final arrow.
And only 1 point now behind our leader. Let's look at the board real quick now. Tony Taz
finally
still
somebody
hangs
makes a move on that target now.
Ray Young now leads at 443.
We
Tony
had
Taz at
Ray Young
442.
take the
Roger
lead.
Willett,
He
Richard
blasted
Holmes
his way
now tied
within
at
three
441,
from
and
three
Alan
targets.
Connor
He moved all the
433.
way from fourth
That
place
was a
all the way to
major move
first.
for several
So
shooters
he's
on
making
that
a
arrow.
pretty quick.
As you can see with the 14s
move.
and 12s in play, it can happen very quickly.
He's up. He's still got
All right,
two on
gentlemen,
the last two targets.
everybody's
Ray's going to
settled?
have two of the
Start your
toughest
1
targets
minute.
out here. He's going to have a
Now.
really dark blessed box that's going to be hard to aim at. It's got a bad shadow on it, so it's really hard to actually fine tune and aim at it. Then he's going to have the longest target on the range. So we'll see how he does. I'm guessing Roger will shoot out of 14 on this one, take another chance. But he doesn't. He shoots out of 12, and he hits it. So that's still a great move for him. Ray Young shot at a 12 and hits a 10. So now Roger Willett's going to make a little bit of a move here. Roger hits a 12 on that target, and he was only 2 behind Ray Young. So we're going to have a tie between Roger
first
Willett
up,
and
Alan
Ray Young
Connor
for
on
the lead.
Coyote, looking for a 14 to jumpstart his run back into the competition. Just off with an 8 moves him to 441. You only have 1 arrow left to get back within 10 points of our leader. Next up for Tony Tazza, currently 1 point behind at 442 on the Brown Bear. A solid 10 moves him to 452. You'll have to wait and see what
I'm really
Ray Young
actually
does after
surprised
that.
on this because
Next is
the
Richard
field
Holmes,
must just
a
be
5
just
for
close
Richard,
enough that nobody wants
as
to
that
really
deer
make a
continues
mistake.
to
And so
taunt these
nobody's really taking any risks at shooting at 14s. But
I
these
thought that was
guys,
a pretty good turn
these
of
guys
the
again
word.
are shooting
Come
the
on.
unknown distance, so it is tough
Ray Young, currently
to
our
take
leader
that
at
risk and shoot at a
443.
14 because these guys are all within reach.
10 will hold on to that lead at 453. And for Roger Willett, a 12 here would also move him into the tie at 453. And for Roger, we have the 12 he needed. He's now at 453 and tied with Ray Young going into the 5th arrow. Again, anybody within 10 points will go to a 6th and final arrow. But in the meantime, we have Roger Willett and Ray Young at 453, Tony Taz at 452, Richard Holmes at 446.
Okay, so Roger
and
Willett
Alan
just
Connor at
moved into the
441.
lead. He's from 3rd
All right,
place, and
gentlemen,
he actually
this is it.
he's
This is
tied
your 5th
right
and
now with
final
Ray
arrow.
Young, but he has Ray
Anybody want
Young
the upper 12?
by 12 rings, which doesn't matter if
Okay,
they
we'll
tie
start
for
your 1
first,
minute
they'll shoot it off,
now.
but it does matter in every other instance. So if they end up tying for 2nd, Roger's going to have the advantage. So it's a big move from those guys, 4th and 3rd place, coming all the way up to take 1st place. Roger just looked like he put an awesome shot. I believe Roger just 12'd that Blessbach. That's actually some pretty amazing shooting right there. Roger.
Okay, folks, this is it. Let's see what happens. Getting to
We had a
6th arrow
14.
after the final arrow after this. 14 for Alan Connor. That's going to do him a lot of good, moving him to
So
456.
Alan puts, this is probably one of the
455,
best
and
rounds
even
of
a chance
shooting
to go
we've had
into
for
that
these
10th,
guys.
That last arrow.
We've had some.
For Roger Willett,
Roger
currently
Willett
one
was
of our
leading.
co-leaders at
He 12'd
453.
this
We have a
target.
12 for Roger Willett.
So
His fine
that
shooting
would have gave him a
continues now,
2-point lead,
465.
but Ray Young 12
10
is the
points ahead
longest
of Alan
target
Connor.
in this course,
Ray
which
Young,
is this
our
one right
co-leader
here.
going into this arrow.
So it's
For
pretty
Ray Young.
amazing to
A
hold.
12 of his
So
own.
they're
He moves
both
to
tied.
465 and keeps that tied
Some good
pressure
shooting.
on with
This
Ray
is an
Young.
8 on this
He has
Cinnamon
16,
Bear.
15 bonus rings to Roger's 16. Richard Holmes, a 5, moves him to 451.
That was
and
actually a
takes him
5. It
out
was a
of
little
the
low.
competition. He's no longer within 10
And
points
then
of our
a
leaders.
14 on this Coyote.
And for Tony Tazza, looking for something
So
a little more
Tony makes a move.
than a 10 here.
And that's
He's
gonna,
got a 14. That moves him back in
that's
lead
going
at
to move him back
456.
to leading.
466, I apologize. So now, here's our situation. In 5th place is Richard Holmes. And
So
currently
Roger
in
Willett
4th
and Ray
place at
Young thought they were
455.
shooting
That
off for
that 14
first
ring by Tony
place.
Tazza took Alan
And Tony
Connor out
comes
of
up
the
and
final arrow,
snatches
moving
it away
11
from
points
him with
behind.
last
Put him in
target to
4th
go.
place.
And
Roger
actually
Willett
shoots a
and
14 on the
Ray Young are
Coyote.
now
So
1
now
point behind.
Tony's going to be going
Shooting
into the
first is Ray
final
Young at
arrow in
465
first
and
place.
15. Shooting second, Roger Willett at 465 and 16. And
That's
final
that's
arrow
one of those
will go to
scenarios
Tony
with
Tazza
the
at
the way this course is
466.
laid out. It happened to be
Mr.
the
Billy's gonna
shortest
set
target
one
on the
arrow.
course. Tony was up on last. So coming from first, Tony was able to work through the shoot off and then just be patient, not be overly aggressive. Even though he lost his lead pretty early, he didn't lose control and he played it smart. He picked the course apart. He still kept shooting at it. He really only made one mistake. He shot an 8 on that long deer, and that was it. But he still shot smart and conservative on the bear, and then was able to come back and shoot a 14 on that last target to get it back. But by not being too aggressive, not losing his cool, he was able to come back and take the lead going into the final arrow. So it was a really good play on his part. And even me watching the board, I kind of lost track of Tony Taza. And I shouldn't have, but I didn't even realize that he was on that last coyote. So I'm not surprised if that didn't happen to Ray and those guys, if they weren't a little shocked too.
Okay, he put the stake where the Lancaster camera can't see it. What a great move.
You can see that.
Do you want to move?
We're going to give these guys 1 minute to judge. And first up is going to be Mr. Ray Young, then Roger Willett, and then Tony Taza.
Back up another step. Another step.
Chamois?
Good.
The chamois from right there. All I do is look at the stake that just shot, and now look at that from there.
How's audio still good?
I think you want to give him a coyote from there at that angle. It's probably glance right off.
So these guys get 1 minute to judge. This is the final arrow, 6th and final arrow for these guys. They've all shot great getting up to this point. And this is really what it comes down to. You know, you shoot 45 targets in a weekend. All comes down to this final shot. I've lost so many tournaments in this final target. It's depressing if you're only in it a few times, or you get so close and lose it, but it's really exhilarating. It's really rewarding when you're able to pull it off in this last shot, because this one can get your heart thumping.
Ray's got his number in mind.
This is a perfect scenario too, because we've got Ray Young, who's tied for second with Roger Willett. They're both at a 465. They're only 1 point behind Tony Taza. So I expect them to probably take a chance, shoot at a 14, and then we'll see everybody shoot at a 14 if one of them hits it. Worst he could finish is third. So
all right, Mr. Young.
It's that scenario where probably will take a chance because everybody's getting contingency money.
Start your 1 minute now.
Like I said, you shoot 45 targets to get to this position. You might as well try to win it. And I can't tell. Ray shot,
let's see what we got
at a 12, but he's super close. He
hot.
might have it at 10 o'clock, but it's really close. I can't tell.
A 10 for Ray.
Just off.
Moves him to 475 and 15 bonus rings.
So now Roger.
If Roger takes a 10 or better,
here's a scenario for
wrap
Roger
up second
Willett.
place, no worse than.
If Roger shoots a 10,
1 point off of our leader,
he's
Tony
got
Taza.
him
we
by.
won't have a tie for first.
He's got him by one. He's got him by 112 rings. So if he shoots a 10, he beats Ray Young on 12 count, which means he gets second, even though they tie for score.
Start your 1 minute.
But it makes
now.
Tony Taza just have to shoot a 10 to win. So he's going to shoot at a 12 or a 14. If it was me, I would still shoot at a 14. I probably would. But he'll shoot at a 12. And he got it.
He wants a 12 to put the pressure on Tony.
So now that puts Tony Taza having to shoot.
He's had a good run. That's another 12 for Roger Willett. He's been piling up the 12s all the way along. He started with a 14,
so
a 12,
that's
a 12, and a 12.
Now the pressure's on Tony. So Tony snatched it.
477.
Got one shot left.
All right, Tony's at 466.
Tony needs to have a bonus ring on this target. Has to have one. Doesn't matter if he shoots a 12 or a 14. Either choice.
He wants
if he
the
hits
upper
it,
12.
he wins.
The
If he misses it, he loses. He's gonna shoot. He's gonna shoot at a 12. He's calling the upper because there's a really good aiming spot on it. And he's shooting at a 12 because if he misses and stays a 10, he finishes third. So the upper 12's right by that light spot that's right at the top, the left light spot. And he hits way left for an 8. So what's going to happen here is we're actually going to have Tony Taza finish third. Roger Willett takes the win.
Your champion
and Ray Young is going to finish
for Tony
second.
Taza moves him to 474. Now we have Roger Willett as your champion at 477. In second place is Ray Young. In third place is Tony Taza.
Good shooting, Tony.
In fourth place, Alan Connor, and Richard Holmes.